Okay guys, we got the Velotric T1 ST Plus fully built, and I've got it out here ready to ride. This is what I call Velotric's road bike. It's not really truly a road bike, but it's got super skinny tires. It's lighter weight compared to all of their other bikes. It comes in as a Class 1 e-bike, which means it has no throttle. But the nice thing is, Velotric gave you the option to be able to increase the speed. Here's how you do that. It's super easy to do. Says that we need to, after powering it on, hold down the plus and minus button. And then we should be able to go down to speed limit. Seems pretty straightforward. And then 20 miles an hour is what it's set to. 28, let's set it to that. This thing also has Apple Find My, so if you lose your bike or you're worried about it, you can track it down. Not only that, this bike has the capability of actually syncing up to the Velotric app, which not all Velotric bikes do. I like it whenever they make it to where you can sync these up to the app. So let's go ahead and take this thing out on a real true longer distance ride and see how this Velotric T1 ST Plus actually does. All right, we are out here on the Velotric T1 ST Plus. This is their newest version of the T1. They do have one other model below this one. So this is the brand new iteration of it. And if it's anything like all the other Velotric bikes, all their iterations are definitely improvements upon the first one. So I really like this style of e-bike. It's kind of one of those e-bikes that's really meant for fitness, and that's actually what they have this categorized under their e-bike categories on their website. So this one does not have a throttle, which forces you to pedal. It's pedal assist only, which is pretty nice. I mean, it's easy to get by with just using throttle, but whenever you're on a bike that doesn't have that, like a traditional Class 1 e-bike, you have to do all the pedaling. And I would say as you ride this bike, it's gonna feel a lot like a standard bike. It's not gonna feel like an e-bike at all whenever it comes to the agility of this bike and the maneuverability of this bike. It rolls really, really smooth and just feels like a normal bike. The 39 pounds that this bike weighs really does help with that. Now, it does have a nice display here that has a little bit of color that pops through. Like for instance, your pedal assist levels do have different colors, so you can easily identify them along with the number that's attached to it. But also, not only do you have 5 pedal assist levels, you have 3 modes. So technically you have 15 different pedal assist levels on this bike. Now I've got this in Boost Pedal Assist 5 for this particular test, just because that's how I enjoy riding these style of e-bikes. But this one's pretty comfortable. The seat is a little bit large, and I'll show you guys that here in just a minute. Now I did increase that speed, so as you can see, I'm getting assistance over that 20 mile an hour mark. Right now I'm at 24 miles an hour, and I can feel the motor pushing. It feels pretty natural. This does have a torque sensor built into it. Velotric claims that it's one of the leading industry torque sensors for a rear hub motor. Now this is a fully rigid bike, so it's going to be super efficient. You're not going to lose any efficiency when it comes to pedaling and hitting bumps and things like that. This thing is like an old school road bike. Now, something I think is pretty cool on this bike is the stem. The stem's a shorter stem, but it's still an adjustable stem. They integrated all of the cabling, so all the cabling goes down into the actual headset itself. So this bike looks super clean. I'm gonna go ahead and turn on the front headlight and tail light by just pressing the plus button or holding the plus button. Now the tail light is not integrated into the brakes, so when you squeeze the brakes, it doesn't flash or indicate that you're braking. Now one thing I do wish, they just have a battery indicator bar. It doesn't look like they have a battery percentage on the bike itself. But if you go into the app, you can actually see the percentage of the battery. Now the trip that I'm taking this bike on is about 14-ish miles. So we'll see where the battery life actually stands at the end of this. Keeping it in boost mode and pedal assist 5 the entire time. Now I can tell you, this bike is definitely categorized correctly, fitness bike. I mean, even though I've got this in boost and pedal assist 5, I'm still having to put effort in. Now this does have Tektro hydraulic brakes. They're always pretty good, but we're gonna test them out here because this is a pretty big hill. We're just gonna kind of stop here. Oh, smooth. The Tektro brakes are just so good. They're just so good. I've used Tektro brakes on so many bikes. Just a reliable hydraulic brake that you can get serviced anywhere. Any bike shop could service a Tektro brake. Let's stop right here and take a look at the bike. Okay, we're only a few miles into this ride, but I wanted to show you guys all the features that come on this bike because it's got quite a few features that are pretty beneficial for this style of bike. So this bike does come in 2 different sizes. You can get it in what they call a regular, or you can get this in a large. It also comes in 2 different colors. It comes in this color right here, which is an orangish color, and then they also have a kind of a more subtle creamy type color that you can get. But you're getting all kinds of really cool stuff here. One of the favorite things that I have, since they know that this is going to be more of a street style bike, is this built-in taillight. It's integrated really, really well. The wire runs up and it runs down through the seat tube, all the way through the frame, so you don't see any of the wiring at all on this bike, which is really, really cool. But tied into that light is this seat, and this is what I was talking about. This seat is very, very wide. Compared to some of the other ones that they've put on their bikes, this seat's really wide. So if you really like wider, cushiony seats, this one's going to be really ideal for you. It feels a little bit too wide for me for this style of bike, but I could see how some people would really enjoy this particular seat. And then let's look back here at these wheels and tires. Nice set of wheels and tires. They call them the Ultra. They're Velotric branded, and these are going to be 700C wheels, and these are going to have Kenda tires on them, and they call them the Quick Drumlin tires. These are actually going to be 700 by 40C tires, so nice and beefy and wide. They picked a really good tread pattern on these, so it's going to be really good for road riding, gravel riding, dirt road riding. Just a nice pattern that will work really well for a lot of situations. And if we come down here and we look at the drivetrain, you get this nice 46 tooth chain ring up front with an awesome chain guard on it. I really like the way that Velotric designs their chain ring guides or guards, because they look really nice, and that's just such a big focal point on any bike. So making those look nice and not just plain and cheap is a really cool feature that Velotric does with their bikes. It also has this Altus Shimano rear derailleur that is tied into a Shimano rear cassette back here that's an 8-speed. So you're getting a nice wide range for this style of bike. Okay, so now let's talk about the power system that's built into this bike. It is a 36-volt system, and it has a 9.8 amp hour battery that is built into this down tube here. And the battery is mounted in there. It's not easily removable. It's not designed to be removed. If you have to remove it, it does have a door down here that you could get access to it if some reason that needed to be worked on, but it's not easily removable like some other bikes. But it does tie into a 350 watt Velotric rear hub motor, which is super compact. This is a very, very tiny looking motor. You can hardly tell that this is an e-bike, which is something that a lot of people are kind of going for these days, especially if you're riding these on greenway trails or riding them through the city. You just want something that's inconspicuous, doesn't really stand out as a full-blown e-bike. This one is definitely doing that. Now it does have a really nice display up here. It's a color display, so as you change through, you can see the color changes down here. There's not much other color on this display, but you do have all kinds of different settings that you can go through. So whenever you're riding, you can see exactly how many miles, what your average speed is, how many calories you've burned, all that type of stuff. Also tied into that electric system is going to be this front headlight, and like we talked about, the rear tail light. And now a few other things before we continue on our bike ride. As you can see down here, we've got the Tektro hydraulic brakes. These look to be about 160 millimeter rotors on both front and back. Really, really nice brakes. You're not gonna have any issues with these brakes. Nice little kickstand built in. And then down here is where you would actually charge it. This little port opens up and you can charge it. It's a proprietary charger, but this one's really nice because you can't confuse it on how to actually install the charger to get your bike charging. We also have 2 Bottle Boss mounts for your drinks, which are fantastic. Most bikes barely come with 1, but this bike comes with 2. All right, guys, I know we're in the middle of the video, but I do want to stop here and say, if you guys are interested in purchasing any Velotric bike, check out my links down below. That definitely helps out this channel at no cost to you, and it lets Velotric know that you came from my video and decided to purchase a bike. All right, guys, let's get back to the ride. Now, one thing that's really nice about this bike I've noticed already is I'm not ghost pedaling at all. I mean, I'm going 24 miles an hour and I've got plenty of tension, 27, 28, still plenty of tension on the pedals. So you're not gonna have to worry about spinning out or not having enough gears to be able to get this bike up to speed. That 46 tooth chainring really is nice. And the shifting on this bike has been really smooth. It's very, very nice. Shimano makes really good products, pretty much tried and true, so can't go wrong with a good Shimano shifter and rear derailleur. And it feels very stable at speed. I'm going 34, 35 miles an hour, and this bike feels absolutely rock solid. And even though it doesn't have suspension, it is pretty smooth over bumps. That bridge was not rough at all, and sometimes that bridge can be pretty rough. One of the other really nice benefits of this bike that I'm finding is it's dead quiet. I'm not hearing any chain noise. I'm not hearing any, brake noise. It's super quiet. All right, so we made it into the town. That's about halfway on my journey. We're about 8.2 miles in, and I've got about 3/4 of a battery left. And now remember, I'm running this on the highest possible setting. So if you run this in eco mode and you run it with pedal assist 1, they're claiming that you could get upwards of 70 miles. The get up and go on this bike is really nice in pedal assist 5 and boost mode. It's subtle, but yet powerful enough. Here we are climbing up the big hill here. See what this motor can do. This is a very, very steep hill. All the way in my easiest gear. Going about 7 miles an hour. It's not that bad. It's helping out quite a bit. I don't know what the grade is on this hill, but I'd imagine it's well over 19%. All right, did good. Made it up the hill. Still have a tiny bit of battery. Probably about 1/8 of a battery. And I've done 13.8 miles. I definitely feel like it's in some sort of like eco mode to help me get a little bit further without draining the battery completely. Because now that the battery is so low, it's definitely not putting out the power that it was at the very beginning, which is normal. Most bikes, whenever they get below 10%, will lower their power so they don't leave you stranded with no power at all. All right, I just hit 15 miles. I still have some power. So we're still doing good. Pedal assist 5 boost mode, and it's been pretty hilly. I've done almost 1,000 feet of climbing on this bike. Just ticked over to 17 miles. Oh, there we go. I just lost all power. Low battery. Pops up on the screen. I'm gonna say, okay. Took me back. You can definitely tell there is 0 power running, so it does give you a nice alert on the screen. I made it 17.3 miles. Made it up the last climb, and climbed a total of 1,055 feet. So the Velotric T1 ST Plus is definitely a recommend in my book. Now, as far as a few things that I love about this bike, I just find it to be really nice to ride a bike that's really lightweight, coming in under about 39 pounds and feeling more like a hybrid road bike. This bike is fast, it's nimble, it feels responsive. It reminds me a lot of just a normal bike, and I think a lot of people want that feeling whenever they're out on an e-bike. They just want a little bit of an additional assist. Next up is this adjustable stem. I really like this whenever they add these to this style of bike because it allows you to dial it into whatever's comfortable for you. You're not just locked into what the manufacturer thought would work. As far as the things that I would change on this bike, if I could, I would definitely get a different seat. The seat's just a little bit too wide for me, but that's a personal preference thing. But overall, that's the Velotric T1 ST Plus. If you guys want to pick one of these up, I would appreciate it if you used my links below. That lets Velotric know that, hey, you watched my video, you liked my video, and you decided to pick up one of their bikes. All right, guys, if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It's totally free. And as always, get out there and ride your bike.
I got you, yeah, SOS, thought you was a